What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Beyond the Message.
Beyond.
I really do like that. That does ring really well. Guys, welcome to week 2 of a series that we have entitled Into the Unknown. Last week, Crisis of Meaning. That was the message. That's what we talked about. This week, we really jumped into why are we exhausted? So I've got Pastor Matt,
hey guys,
Pastor Mike with me. I really want this to be a supplement, maybe just a deeper dive into the week. It's really, the series is taken off well. I think people need it. I know I needed it. I preached this message to me this week. So that was my question. Why are we exhausted? And I kind of prefaced it, if you pin me down to 2 verses of scripture, Matthew 11:28, Jesus says, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." And then if you think about the verse that really I should have spent more time on, but I kept rolling through, was Psalm 42:5. David says, "Why, my soul, are you downcast? Why so disturbed within me?" So Mike, I'm gonna throw you under the bus right away. Define rest and define soul, because a lot of people walked out. It's amazing where they went to. I bet I had 20 people walk out and go, "How do you define who you are? How do you define your soul?" I'm like, it got deep quick.
That's crazy.
And so ultimately, I think that's what we're after. Rest for our soul. The idea of anxiety, the idea of where we're at, is not that we're physically tired.
Right.
Some of us are, but it's mostly emotionally, mentally, spiritually. We're exhausted today. We're exhausted because we never turn anything off. Our mind goes to every place. We'll talk about it. We don't even know how to define rest. We think it's escape and sitting watching Netflix or sitting on the beach. So how do you define rest? How do you define soul? Mike, just give me your first impressions of that, and let's just get at this today, because that verse is the invitation. It's everything to us. Come to me, all you who are burdened and weary, and I will give you rest. All of us are looking for it. Nobody can find it.
Well, before this weekend, if you would have just asked me that, I probably would have given you a slightly different answer, because you're going with kind of what everybody thinks of. But really, rest is, it is that moment of what you do with the things you are dealing with. I wrote down, there's a difference between rest and relief. Relief lowers pressure temporarily. Rest changes what we do with that pressure. And the rest is what you got to this weekend. It's ultimately when we say, hey, I'm done carrying this. We were just talking about this. I'm done carrying the weight. I'm done carrying the pressure. I'm done carrying the anxiety and all the other things that we all try to walk around with. And I'm giving that over to God. That's real rest. Now, if you'd asked me this a couple weeks ago, I probably would have said, well, you slow down, you stop, you like most people, because we don't think of it that way. You made a good point. You brought up vacation specifically, and really most people, vacation is nothing more than escapism. It's, hey, I'm going to go do what I do, which we joked about this and you came off your recent trip, the number of people, I'm going to go scroll my phone somewhere else, Yep. Nothing.
That's a good way to put it.
Nothing
Let's go to the beach and scroll my phone there.
Nothing
I don't
else
have to do
changes,
it at home.
I mean, great case in point. Yesterday after church, we went, which is rare that my whole family gets to go do lunch together. And we're like, everybody's here with the same service, all that, let's all go. So we all go over to Buffalo Wild Wings of all places for lunch. I haven't been there forever.
Ugh.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a swing and a miss.
We apologize to anybody that's there, but yeah. Anyways, haven't been there in forever, and I remember why. But anyways, we walk in there, and it was funny because coming off of this message, my brother is looking around, and he starts counting the number of televisions, hanging in the air, because it's just overload. But then on every table on top of that, there is the digital like pay portals and the games and all that on every single table, every 2 seats, there's one of those. And then we're laughing because as we're settling in, sitting there, we're like, man, this is like media overload in here. But we're laughing because we got in there, sat down, and all of a sudden tables around us start slowly filling up. And we're looking, and we were laughing because we're all trying, okay, phones are down on the table. We're not looking at them, all those things. And you're looking around, and every table there, everybody, whether it's 2 people sitting across from each other or a family, everybody's on a device. Everybody's scrolling whatever. They're not talking to each other. They're not any of that. But that's what we've been talking about the last 2 weeks. It's, man, no wonder. It's like we say, oh, we're going to go out to eat. We're going to go on vacation. but our habits don't change. And that's why we don't find rest, especially for our soul.
All right, so I defined it, biblical rest, that's what we're after, is not just doing nothing, although there's a part of that. I mean, you think about creation, you think about rhythm, you think about the Sabbath. There is moments of resting, but really biblical rest is reconnecting with the one who restores. Mm-hmm. It's the trust factor. It's the invitation that Christ brings. Tired people, how do we truly find peace? And I think that's the fight of our lives. That's going to be, for me, I say that a lot, and it's true, in a world where anywhere you go, it's information overload. It's, God forbid, we're bored for a second. Mm-hmm. And so we never shut it down, and so we can't ever find peace. So, Matt, what's your take on all that? Because I think biblical rest is something we need to talk about. What does that mean?
I'll be honest. I've got an edge about me today, so sorry if you're listening about this. But the most awkward moment Saturday night I watched with my family in the service should not be awkward at all. It's right at the very end. You were getting ready to pray, and I don't know if you did this on purpose or not, but you waited like 5 seconds. Did you do that on purpose?
Yes.
Yeah. And it was a silence. And people were like,
please talk.
Literally, like people were like,
what's wrong?
What's wrong? Joel, is the mic off? Like, he's like, is it Joel's fault up in the sound booth? And it makes me frustrated that the enemy, and I'm mad at the enemy about this. The enemy has lied to us that we have to constantly stay busy, plugged in, active sounds, and we all struggle with it. I mean, we listen to brown noise when we sleep. I know we've talked about this. People have to sleep with the fan, not for the cool, but for the sound. Some people sleep with their TV on. You told a great story just before the podcast started. You woke up at 2:30 in the morning, and you were, trying to fall back asleep, and you got caught up into some scrolling.
Yeah.
And we don't ever fight for the silence and the awkward. So I took my daughter out on the porch. Was it Thursday or Friday last week? And I just told her, it was just us two at home. I said, hey, let's just go on the porch. And she goes, what for? And I'm like, I just want to talk to you. Let's just chill. And she's like, okay. Man, we sat out there and it was awesome. There were times where she's like, I want to go check and see if my friends text me or whatever. And I'm like, no, just, it doesn't matter about that. This is what matters now. And it brings me to Psalm 23. And of course, it's the beginning of it, right? The Lord is my shepherd. I lack nothing. And it's this line, he makes me lie down in green pastures. And for me, it's he makes me, right? We're sheep. And as a shepherd, the only time the sheep are able to be made to lie down in green pastures is if they feel safe, right? They feel comfortable. And we've got to get to a point where we can just feel safe in God's presence. And it doesn't have to be overloaded. And I'm not blaming anybody. I'm preaching, like I said, to myself just as much, that when is the last time we just sat in his presence? And that, I think, is the spiritual rest you're talking about, because when we are plugged in all the time, we will never hear his voice. We will never hear that soft whisper, because we're so drowned out by everything that the world is throwing at us.
But you brought it up this week, Psalm 46:10. Most people practice the first part of that. We forget the second half. If we think, I'm going to go rest, I'm going to go recharge, I'm going to go be still.
Yeah.
But we leave out the God part of it.
Yeah, that's right.
And something you said, this week that I think is so important that we don't let it go over our heads. You said God didn't stop talking to us, we've stopped listening. And I'm like, man, if that isn't absolutely the truth.
That's big.
And you just said it, again, we've talked about this so many times about how we are all sheep. And we get defensive. We're like, I'm not sheep. What are you talking about? I know. But like we went through this last week. Look at your screen time. Look at how you're spending your day, and then tell me you're not sheep. And it's all of us. We're all sucked into this.
You feel like it's a broken record. Like, how you've been doing this way longer than me and Mike combined. But do you ever feel like a broken record? Like, we're going to ask you this question: what can we do about it?
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
And And it's the same, it's really the same answer, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's, we closed with that song Aware by Salvador, and that was my whole point, is like, these are moments that matter, that make us aware of, hey, we are exhausted. Why are we exhausted? We think we're exhausted because we live in a modern society and we're working our butts off, blah, blah, blah. And that's just not true. Our ancestors absolutely worked circles around us, physical labor.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And we have every convenience under the sun, but Matt, you've been doing youth a long time. I mean, 12-year-olds are exhausted.
That's right.
Yeah.
And it's all due to technology. It's due to we can't shut our minds off. The culture is preaching at us 24/7. And I really didn't get into it, and I should have. I had way too much message, not enough time. But how rest is spiritual, and the idea of worship and rest are tied together. Mike, you brought up Psalm 46. The idea of being still and knowing, that is worship and rest.
Yeah.
So when we say that verse, that is not me sitting in my backyard doing nothing. That's coming to church. That's me sitting in a pew, being still for an hour and focusing on God.
Yep.
Worship, what it means, recalibration. That's why it's linked. Rest is linked with the fourth commandment. Remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy. We think Sabbath day is just, I'm going to go do nothing. But that's really the rhythm of worship.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I'm a broken record, but that's okay. People walked out. Lots of people got it.
Yeah,
lots of people, and some people are not. I told a lot of people that. I'm like, most people, this is going over their head. They're going to continue to be exhausted. I can easily be that way as well, but we got to do something about it. We got to just kind of be aware of it, because you're not going to change it if you're not aware of it.
Yeah.
You're not going to change it if you're not aware of it.
Me and Noah's birthday was Saturday. Me and my son have the same birthday. I love that. It's the best birthday present ever, right? And he turned 12. Audrey's 13, getting ready to turn 14. And I asked them, I'm like, I go, why are you so tired? Because they answer that. It's like, I'm tired. I'm like, why? You get 9 hours of sleep a night. And looking at your life, homeschooled, they get out. I'm like, why? And this is the exact words that they both said. I don't know. And I'm like, is it just something that's embedded in our culture that there's a prestige to be tired? I think there is a little bit of that, where I'm like, I'm exhausted. I've got all this on my plate. It makes me feel like I'm more important than other people. But the truth is, the people that simplify their lives and that spend time with God, they're the ones that got it going on.
Yeah.
Not the people that have 100 things packed into a day and they get overloaded and exhausted.
Well, I had written it down and never used it all week. In our society, we have the idea of rest equals weakness.
100%. Agreed.
And I think it was that way longer ago than it is now. Now I think people are just, I don't know if they don't want to work. It's the more we don't do anything, the more we sit on our phones. It's not like you're, oh, you know what? I just want to go spend 6 hours with God today with my Bible in the mountains.
Yeah.
No one does that.
Yeah, right.
We don't, hey, how do I recharge? I had that shirt and had mental blocked all week. I wore this shirt that had the 1% battery life on it. I only mentioned it one time.
You did use it.
But the idea of, if our phones have 1% battery, everyone is now on edge, totally anxious, and we will do what it takes to plug that in to get it charged. But yet we're all there and we don't do anything about it.
And that is an unbelievable point.
That's just where we live. And are we going to win with a 1 hour sermon? No, because it's all the time. It's every time. But if I can, if you can, if a few people go, hey, you know what? I'm going to put my phone down. I am going to think about this, because it is true. Is it embedded in our culture? Is it a sign of weakness? I think it's real. I think people are dead tired.
Yeah.
I think because we never unplug from, we're literally in the matrix. We're never unplugged from it. It's all the time. And that sounds preachy, whatever. I don't care. That's just where we are. That's real life.
100%.
And everyone's there. And teens, I've never in my life seen teens so tired. Now, parents are a fault to that.
Right.
They go to school, they have homework, and then they shuttle them off to wherever they got to do, because God forbid they sit home and just enjoy family time or light. We can't do that.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's where the weakness comes in. It's like, well, my kid's falling behind if they're not playing 6 sports and doing this, or they've got homework, and then Mike's kid's going to karate. We got to do something. Everybody's got to do something.
Dude, I'm raising my hand on that. My kid is playing tennis. First time ever picked up a racket this year. And he had tennis practice, flag football practice, and basketball practice in the same day. And I sat to Nikki and I'm like, what in the world are we doing? He's like, I love it. I'm like, but what are we doing? Like, it's crazy, but I'm right there with you.
I remember going in high school, because I played a lot of sports, did a lot of stuff. My dad would tell me from time to time, he's like, when are you resting?
Yeah.
And I'm like, what do you mean by that? He goes, when are you spending time in the Bible for yourself?
Yeah.
What are you doing? You're at church, you're singing, you're playing sports, you're doing this, you're all the time. But when are you stopping to lock in? I mean, he would tell me that a lot, and that's just gone. We don't say that anymore, because if we tell her, hey, you know what, Junior, don't go shoot hoops, go read your Bible. Well, he's falling behind.
But you know,
He's falling behind.
what you just said was good, Mike, and I know I'm jumping in, but like they're going to say, well, yeah, you were a preacher's kid. Of course, your dad should have said that. But there's no different between you as a preacher's kid and anybody else. I mean,
and I always threw it back on Dad. When are you stopping? Because he never stopped either.
Yeah.
We've all been in it. Like we were, Becky retired this week on staff, and it is hilarious what people say. Here we have this church that's really nonstop. It goes all the time.
We do.
And it's just like, she's been here for 17 years. She's getting tired. She wants to simplify her life, spend time with family, and almost people are like, what? You can't do that. It's like, God forbid that just burn out, and because
it's for me. I need you to burn out.
That's how people feel, and that's that rest equals weakness.
Yeah.
And it is okay to say, you know what, it's time to recalibrate. And it's really that. I think if I should have OD'd on it more. Rest is reconnecting to the one who restores. Just like as our phones, when they are depleted, we will literally move heaven and earth. We will go spend whatever money we got to spend to buy that cord, to plug that in if ours doesn't work. I mean, if we don't have that cord to plug our phone in, we're stopping by the gas station to get it if our phones die. I mean, it's like we're going to make sure that we're constantly charged to the culture, and we just don't make sure we're constantly charged to Christ. We just don't do it. Man. So we're going to be exhausted, and you're not going to find what you're looking for, and you're going to be the hamster on the wheel, and I'm going to be Debbie Downer, but that's the world we live in. And if you don't do anything about it, it's not going to get any better. Yep. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. It's not there. And I literally preach the sermon to me. I'm the one that, if I don't watch it, I can struggle the most.
Yeah. I mean, it goes right to the third point that you made this week. Everything feels urgent. Mm-hmm. But you made the point. I mean, look at Christ. Mark 1:37, you included that, which I thought that
this went over people's heads. But
that was
boom.
So good. It says they're looking at Jesus. They're going, everyone is looking for you. And you talked about how Jesus set this example, how he modeled it. And one of the notes that I put in here, I said, Jesus rested not because he was trying to avoid responsibility, but because he had to withdraw from the crowd so that he could continue his mission. That he was no good to anyone if he has nothing to give. That even the Son of God, through his example, is showing us that we have to continuously, like we were just talking about, you have to continuously find real meaningful rest, spend meaningful time with God to recharge your soul so that you're useful to somebody. Because if not, if we're all walking around, and Matt, you said it, and I say this all the time, we wear exhaustion like it's a badge of honor. Yeah. But if we are all walking around with that mentality, like we are competing to see who can be more tired than the people around them, none of us are good for anything. And it's no wonder why our relationships are terrible, why, you feel like, hey, your job maybe is meaningless, why, your family life is on decline. All those things is because instead of doing anything of real purpose and real value, we're all just, we feel tired, and ironically, we all run back to the thing that mentally fatigues us, and that's phones and technology and all the wrong things and the Netflix specials. Right?
Just remember, Satan will get you when you're tired, not when you're recharged, not when you're refreshed. But tired people run to escape. Tired people run to temptation.
Yeah, that's right.
And Mike, back to your point, some of us are exhausted because we're trying to meet expectations God never placed on us.
One.
Yes,
and that's all of it. Ministry, 9 out of 10. Kind of preachers, staff members, ministry people quit because we can't fix everybody. We can't make everybody happy. We can't answer every criticism. And sometimes no isn't selfish. Sometimes no is stewardship.
Yes.
It's protecting your life and your family and your calling and your assignment from God. And yet people will literally, I can't believe it. You just are letting me down. I'm going on. I mean, it's the world we live in, and we don't want to,
right.
But there are times that you're tired and you need to be refreshed and recharged, and that's not sitting at the beach. That's just not getting into the minutia of everyday life. But when are those breaks where you go, okay, it's time for me to refresh my soul?
Yeah.
If not, I'm David. Why, my soul, are you so downcast?
Yep.
You know, so Matt, let's go to that. What's your soul? That's a great question. Somebody came out, like 20 people. And I'm like, because I think that, who are we? Or I'm like, well, we're spiritual beings in a physical body.
Yeah.
We think we're all physical. And I'm like, but your soul is who you are.
Yeah.
Your anxiety is not your physical body. It's your soul. And now your physical body is manifesting what's going on in your soul. Mm-hmm. And that's like deep thoughts we're recording this podcast on a Monday morning. That's deep thoughts for Monday.
Yeah, I think if I'm going to target myself, I have to be involved in things to feel like I am of value. And we're doing this real time right now. That you didn't give us this question before the podcast happened, but I think my trap is you asked, hey, who's this message for? And with tears in my eyes Saturday, I'm an emotional guy right now. I raised my hand because I think that if I'm not involved in 50 things and I have a hard time saying no, that I am not valuable to anybody. And so me sitting there at the end of that message going, dude, I'm a child of God. My main ministry is my family. And if I don't watch it, I can put everything and everyone in front of them. And it really checked me. So where's my soul? I know I'm a child of God and I love God and I'm on fire for him, but I do sometimes place my identity not in him and in what people view me as. How's that?
Okay. What about you, Mike? Define soul.
Oh man, well
that's easy. Come on.
You know the way I explain this, because Mike and I've had this conversation because we've talked a lot about what it means to be a Christian and baptism. He's asked a lot of questions, and this is kind of one of those things that came up. And the way I explained it to him, I said, "Hey, so let me show you something." And I took his hand, and I grabbed his hand, and I said, "Is this Micah?" And he goes, "No, that's my hand." I go, "Yeah, that's your hand." And, and I kind of went through this process of, like your finger's not you, your foot's not you, all these different things. And, and so all these physical characteristics, I said, that's not what makes you you. I said, you're you, but this is how you physically go about your day. This is the things that you use that God has given you to live your life. It's a physical body, like you just said. And so the soul is that part that, we always talk about our heart and our mind. Our soul is what we are really talking about when we talk about what's going on in our heart or what's going on in our mind. It's, hey, that's who we really are. And so when we feel depleted, yeah, there's times where you're physically tired, but like you made the point this weekend, it's like, I was laughing, you're going through the grocery store scenario of, hey, we got to get somebody to load it up. They push a button. We don't even close the tailgate anymore, and because it's just too physically demanding. So most of us are not physically tired, but man, our souls are tired.
Right.
And that's why I feel like, in many ways, I feel like we feel like this is a heavier burden than maybe, generations before us used to feel, that worked a lot harder physically during the day, because spiritually they weren't getting pulled in a million different directions quite the same way that we are today. But today it's like most people have a very physically easy existence, but man, mentally we are fried and spiritually we are fried because we're chasing all the wrong stuff and we're competing in all the wrong ways.
So I thought you were asking, where am I personally in my soul? And he comes out.
Okay, that was very good.
Spits the facts. I didn't know you were trying to.
I bet it's all the same meaning.
Yeah.
It's all the same meaning. And so for me, we'll close with this. Matthew 11:29. I didn't unpack it, but it's a really great verse. What a beautiful invitation from Jesus to relationship and discipleship and rest and take my yoke upon you and learn from me. I mean, that's discipleship. We all want to follow Christ, follow his rhythms, and you will find rest for your souls. That word yoke, that was a device that tied two animals together. They would completely get that, right? So what is he saying? Jesus is saying what? Come alongside me. You know what? And I'll teach you how to walk through life. You don't have to carry everything by yourself.
Yeah.
So the bottom line is we can beat around the bush all we want. We can beat this up all day long. We are tired because we chase the culture all the time.
Right on.
Yeah.
It's never turned off, and we don't come alongside Christ.
Yeah.
That's why we're tired. I think it is also cultural. I think it's also everybody's feeding off each other when it comes to being tired. Yeah. But I think it's ultimately we've never been more connected to something that our minds never turn off in the history of our world. We haven't. Sure. So I didn't hear that word in the 80s. I didn't. We didn't hear that word before smartphones. That wasn't a catchword.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
That's right.
I mean, people were tired, but they knew how to, I mean, there were times you're bored.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there are times you would sit and you could recalibrate. And even in not thinking about it, you are at least disconnecting from the culture. We could do that pretty easy.
Yeah.
And when the TV came in the 80s and then cable, that's where it started.
Not a big satellite TV.
And then so now you're kind of doing that. But still, there are times that you're in your car, you maybe whatever, you would listen to stuff, or you're just with friends out and about. You just weren't on a screen 24/7. There's the issue.
Can we offer a massive challenge? Let's try a big challenge. Because like in youth, we're like, pray for 15 minutes and let's, I guess here's maybe a challenge, and maybe you can edit this if you don't like this. Like, can we try 1 hour? Everyone listening, whatever, come and talk to us if you do this. Can we try 1 hour where we separate from the world? Like, phone away, grab your Bible, get into a place of silence and solitude just for an entire hour this week sometime. We think that should be easy.
All right, so here's what we're going to do. That's pie in the sky, 1 hour.
That's a lot.
You think that's going to happen, Mike?
I'm going to do it.
You know what?
I mean, Jesus said it, right? Can't you tarry with me 1 hour?
I mean,
but here's what I'm doing this week, which is already in plans.
In place?
This week's
Okay.
a battle for the Bible. My goal this week is this. Before anything, for 10 minutes every morning for 7 days, put God first. Open your Bible for 10 minutes.
Okay.
Lock in on a verse. Instead of reading the Bible, let the Bible read you. And for 10 minutes, before the first thing that you do every day for 10 minutes for 7 days is just put God first. Put the Bible first. Get your physical Bible. I mean, if you have to use your whatever app, that's fine. But just pick a couple. You can't do a lot in 10 minutes. Pick a couple verses. I even thought about maybe we'll sit down and actually give the verses where we're going to text people that are serious. They can sign up, and at 7 a.m., that's going to hit.
Yeah.
Instead of noon, 7 a.m. I don't know if we do that. I don't know if we need to do that. I think people can just, hey, you know what? I'm just going to lock in. Because people are up before 7. The first 10 minutes, your first 10 minutes, teenagers, everybody can do that. If you get up at 6:30, get up at 6:20 and just open up the Bible, get it ready the night before and go, I'm going to focus on this and God. But you don't want to focus on genealogies. You don't want to focus on, you want to focus on some verses that really can speak into your life. And that's what I'm going to do this week. That's my target.
Okay.
But you're good, man. I mean, yeah, an hour, long time. I think for people that are not, they're not used to that.
Yeah.
Give it 10 minutes and then build from there.
Yeah.
Do whatever it takes. But put your phones down. I mean, the big challenge is you can track your pickups. It's not hard. I did it last week. 40. Some people showed me 70%. They showed me on their phone 70% down from one week to the next.
That's awesome.
There is. I mean, at least Apple gives us a way to track it.
Yeah.
To where you can play that game. Like, hey, I don't have to pick it up. Like my son says, I'll pick it up once and put it down at the end of the evening. So it's really only one time. Don't do that. But really watch it. Just focus on your prayer life. Focus on, hey, I need to disconnect. That's why church is important. We are aware of these things. And I think people are just like, well, it's just culture. There's just a reason we're all exhausted and I really can't put my finger on it. Sure you can. Yeah. We just did it. We just kind of showed you and told you.
Exactly. We know why.
All right, guys, listen, it's been 30 minutes. Our goal, we think about this a lot. Do we go longer, podcast anywhere from 20 to 6 hours? And we want you to end with, hey, that was good. I want a little more than, oh, my Lord wins it over. But do something about what we're talking about. If you listen to this, you've put good use to technology for the last 30 minutes. That's a good thing. Focus on Matthew 11, 28, 29. Focus on those verses. Focus on Psalm 42. I mean, all of that. Matt brought up Psalm 23. We think that's the death chapter. Man, that is so much more to that. Right. That's our life verse. There's in so many ways. And so just lock in on God. Give God first. Give God time. Rest in Him. Remember, rest is not doing nothing. It's really reconnecting with the one who restores.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's day to day to day. And it does make a difference. It is life. It brings all kinds of meaning. But you can't do it with your phone in your hand. You just can't do it.
No.
You just can't do it. You can't really accept this personal invitation if it's constant notification. And I'm so distracted.
Yep.
I can't do it. And that's where we all are. I mean, that's why a physical Bible is important.
Yep.
I just believe it is. I know that sounds old school, but I can't. I'm not disciplined enough. We all, I think, we'll run down every wormhole there is. And like I made fun of it, but it's true. Oh, an earthquake, Papua New Guinea. Well, I got to go to, I mean, it's everything.
Yeah, it's everything.
And is it a satanic attack on our society? I would say yes, but it's also just a product of society that's moving away from God and doesn't care. I said it in a few services, not all services, but our culture profits on our exhaustion.
Yes.
We're the one, exhausted people go to Waggles and buy the crap food.
100%.
It's convenient.
Yep.
And then coffee and energy drinks and pills to sleep and pills to focus. Somebody's making money.
Big time money.
And we're all a bunch of sheep, and that's why the Lord is our shepherd.
That's right.
If that's the case, we lack nothing.
If you're in line at Weigel's right now, waiting at the counter when he said that,
That would be weird to be listening to this podcast in line at Waggles.
well, you
With
can
the
have an
AirPod.
AirPod in. So if that's you, send us an email. We want to know. You know, one thing I will say, one thing I will say right with that, because I think that is so important, and we've said this, physical Bible, absolutely. You need to do that. Get your phone down, all that. But even just throughout the day, you know, kind of bridging between last week and this week, we talk about the pickups right there on your screen. Since most people looked last week to see how many pickups they had, look in there. And if you scroll down, it will tell you your top apps that send notifications and how many apps how many notifications you're getting by that app. And I encourage you, we're not going to get back to the days of have no notifications in your life. But go to those apps, because I've done this. Go to your apps and figure out how can I drastically reduce the number of notifications I'm getting too. Because the less that's popping up and dinging and vying for your attention, the better you're going to do with this too. It's twofold.
The only exception, if you check those apps and you're on your YouVersion Bible app 90% of your day, you're good.
You're good.
Stay right on there.
Boom.
No issue.
Thank you.
And it will send you a
Thank
reminder.
You, Life Church.
All right, let's pray, everybody. God, thank you for Pastor Matt and Mike and just their wisdom. It's just such a good thing. We started this not just to have another podcast, but just to kind of bring the message to life a little more. And it's for our lives. I think we all enjoy it. It's very important to me. We want to practice what we preach and live it. And I think that's where all of us are. We want to be followers of Christ. And following Christ is understanding that rest is a part of our rhythm. And rest is not doing nothing, but it's reconnecting with Christ who restores us. And it's everything. And I don't think any of us are inherently evil. I think we just get sucked into a cultural pattern and we just don't think we can get out of it. That's just the way life is. We're all there. But that is not true. Your spirit can move in our lives and we can make changes in our lives. If we're not dead, we're not done. And that's what we got to go at. God, I don't want just to keep getting worn out. I feel like I can easily get worn out because I can do a lot, which is good. But then I can spend all that time like, well, I've done all that good. I've got to escape into whatever and spend all that time in stupid stuff. And then I go to bed tired. I wake up tired. And God, I just think you're looking at me like, Brent, there's a lot you can do about this. Just lock in on me more. Lock in on me. Turn your eyes on Jesus and everything else takes care of itself. So God, that's our prayer. I'm so thankful for this series. Can't wait for the weeks to come. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.